My name is Emily Gulmer, and I am a podcast engineer here. And we're excited to bring you another episode of the Mastery of Connections with MC Holmes. And so this will be great. So we have a great guest today, and so I am going to bring in Alan to or MC Holmes to kick us off today. So welcome, Alan.
Yes, good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can
All
hear you.
right. All right. All right. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you all. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. This is Alan Holmes, also known as MC Holmes. And today I want to stop and say, what a wonderful guest that we will always have incredible guests. But today I wanted to kind of share a little bit light of Drew Deraney. Drew Deraney is a proud father of three, and most of his life he was a people pleaser. He realized that he was living for someone else, and over a 9 month period, he ended there were events that questioned his focus and how he wanted to um, take the world by the tail. And because of that, it led to a 9 month traumatic experience and helped him discover many other ideas and so forth about where he wanted to go. And so I want to bring in Drew. He's the founder, a proud father of three, and the author of the Mindful Man Movement as it was born. And he created a podcast that was from crushing it um, to I'm sorry, I want to make sure we get this right from um, your podcast, Drew, from caving to crushing it. That's right, and teaching other men to actually form their landscape. I don't want to do justice by trying to babble on, but please tell me a little bit about your story and our journey for those men out there and your coaching practice and the safe space that you formed and created.
Absolutely. Thank you, MC Holmes. Alan, it's always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Thank you for having me on. Uh, you know, I often, whenever I talk to people, I like to know if they're living the life that they want to live, or they're living the life that they believe others want them to live. And it's a question we don't often ask ourselves. And what I've learned over the years is, we're taught certain things at a young age and what we should do, what we should not do, and more often than not, life ends up different from what we were taught. And I when I start my story, it starts a long time ago, but I really start when I got married, and fast forward to July of 2015. I found out from my best friend my wife was going to leave me, and that's another story why it happened that way. But my friend and his wife explained to me that she had called to ask them to look out for me when she told me. Thank God they told me. But I was blindsided. Either way, I would have been blindsided because I was a man who, at that time, and didn't realize it, I was just sleepwalking through life. I was just doing what I felt I needed to do in terms of uh, being that provider and just being what I thought that being the best man I could be. I had a lot of blinders on. I didn't realize it. And fast forward to 2018 in April, we had gone through 3 years of mediation back from 15 to 2018 to protect the kids. And the divorce was final in April of 18. And I had a vision of turning my life around. And little did I know, about 6 months after the divorce, I got fired from my job. And again, didn't see that coming. And about 10 days after I got fired from my job, my son had suicidal ideations. And once again, didn't see that coming. And on Christmas Eve of 2018, my dad unexpectedly got sick and he passed away 3 weeks later, January 2019, in intensive care. So in that 9 month period, what I call four faith shaking moments just shattered my world. And I guess I'll stop there. And if you want to just ask questions, or I can keep going, it's whatever way you want to go with that, Alan.
Say that my heart goes out to you from one man to another. That I want to say I applaud you um, And my question would be, and maybe the audience has had the same thing, at that turning point of your breakthrough, um, what is that where you started forming the concept of the man movement, the mindful man movement, or is that where where did you begin to come up with that idea?
No, no, that's a good question, and at that time, no, man, I was totally shattered. I didn't know who I was. I really didn't. I had lost my self identity because, like many men, unfortunately, I tied what I believed I was, my self identity. I tied that to external circumstances. Specifically, I tied my self worth to my wife and my job as a provider in both senses, and I lost both in 6 months. And not having really strong self respect, self trust, and self love, I really kind of lost myself, and I didn't want to be on the earth anymore. Don't know if it was in terms of wanting to uh, take my life by suicide. I didn't have a plan, but I really ready to give up, like one of those things where you get up in the morning and you don't feel like you have anything to get up to. And I had to shake that. And I call that, what I call that is the caving in stage. That when you are that weak as far as a self identity, you allow other things to define you. And in order, I knew that in order for me to get through what I call the caving in stage, to start coping in life, I needed some kind of clarity of purpose, and I've had to find that in the eyes of my 3 children and in the eyes of my mother. So I took it upon myself to just fix it, help them, serve them, and I didn't care about myself. And so I went through this without emotion. I didn't search for any support systems. I didn't ask for help. I just figured, let me help my 3 kids and help my mother. And I believe I was effective in doing that. But on the other side, I was an empty man. I just didn't know what to do with my life as far as whether it was a career or personal life. And I blindly decided to do the research for to buy a franchise. I always wanted to own my own company, never did. So I bought a franchise. It was unrelated to the healthcare field I was in, and I started again 3.5 years of going through the motions, thinking I was doing what I was intended to do. And the mindful man movement really happened probably about a year later. It was only about 3 months ago, but back then when I owned the franchise, and that was 2019 through 2021, I started writing my book. And in writing my book, we did it in a very unique way. We did it, my editor, who was out in Arizona, and I'm in New Jersey, we did it via Zoom. So I would tell my story. I would be talking my story, telling her and reiterating it over and over again. And also, when I was virtually networking to other people, I would tell them my story, to anybody who would listen. And in turn, people started telling me their story. And Alan, where this all started is, as I told my story, I started to heal myself from within. And others would tell me when they started telling their story to me, even if they didn't know me well, they started to heal from within. And one morning I woke up and I decided to walk away from the franchise, breached a 10-year agreement. Thank God they respected me, the franchisors, for what I had gone through. So there were no repercussions. But that's when I started on the Mindful Man movement. And I hadn't coined it the Mindful Man movement just until 3 months ago. But my focus, and now what my mission in life is to get men to start opening up. Tell your story. In my research, I've learned that we do really heal from within by showing our emotions and by sharing and asking for help. And because of that, if I could help one man at a time, one woman at a time, heal themselves rather than looking outside for the healing, I feel I'm making an impact in the world. So when the Mindful Man movement was born, I tell people that it's all about acknowledging your thoughts, it's all about mastering your emotions, and it's all about leading with purpose.
Wow, what a story, my friend. And I believe by now there's individuals out there who definitely need to, and men and women in the families to definitely want to hear your cause and follow that. So my next question would probably be what most of people thinking: how do they get a hold of you, Drew? Where do you go? Are these weekly events? Is this a camp? There's a website, et cetera. Give us the limited context that we can maybe find out more.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I'd say, you remember, started my website, profitcompassion.com. And the reason I call my company Profit Compassion is that we can all profit from being compassionate. And we also profit from others being compassionate to us. So the website has a lot of information there. I say you can email me at drew@profitcompassion.com. I do host a webinar the third Thursday of every month. It's called the Mindful Man Movement, but it's really about supporting men to tap into their natural power through self-discovery. That's all I'm about, is really self-discovery, self-awareness. And most men aren't really aware of their own thoughts, their emotions, and their behaviors. So we tap into that in the webinar. And the next step would be come to my men's group. I lead a men's group Monday, 10 o'clock Eastern, every Monday. And then that leads into my coaching practice. It's a mindset and embodiment coaching. It's not just about shifting your mindset, it's about living what you believe. And it's all about authenticity. And the coaching program is, like I said, all about acknowledging your thoughts, where I empower men to actually define and design their desired identity so they can be who they are rather than the life they were living, which is other people's belief systems. And once the man knows who he is, we then work into eliminating their self-limiting beliefs, which are tied to that old identity. And once we get rid of those self-limiting beliefs, now the man knows who he is and he knows where he's going, and we start helping him write his own story instead of letting others write it for him. And once you write your own story, you know your direction, you know who you are, you start to take action, and you see things that you used to see as barriers as opportunities. And then you capitalize on those opportunities, and it builds self-confidence, it builds self-trust, it builds self-love, and you become the man you were destined to be. And it's a process where there's a lot of work involved, but it's very valuable. And I walk alongside my clients on their journey because I've been through it.
Wow, wow, wow. And then the final question is, I know definitely you have your website. Do you have a YouTube channel? Because this is a movement that we're going to bring in the incredible podcast engineer, Emily Gomer and Kurt Roscoff, who's basically help MC Holmes in the channel. And we want to put this out on one of our various different platforms, the LinkedIn group, Mastery of Connections, as well as a No Card, which we have a platform as well. No kids, no cash, no politics, but it's all about, in this case, the mindful man movement. I love it. I want to do. So you have a YouTube channel, or?
I do. You look up Drew Deraney. It's just starting. It's one thing it's a good idea to get your video going first. I'm finally getting to it. So you just look up Drew Deraney. You'll find my channel there. And what's interesting, when you do go up on the website, you'll see a donation button there. And let me tell you why I have that there. I have encountered many a man who needs personal development coaching, and many of them said they can't afford uh, what I charge. I wish I could charge everything for free because I want to do this. I'd love to give my services away. So what I've noticed is a lot of men need that help and are so struggling financially. So I have a pay it forward sponsorship program where I'm hoping that people who have gone through coaching or mentoring in their lives and realize how important it is, and they've come out on the other end a lot stronger personally and professionally, they'd be willing to pay it forward and sponsor a man to be able to be coached by me. And I'll end up letting the sponsor know, not necessarily the man's name, but I'll say what the transformation was and what the byproduct was of the coachings, and to say that this is what they got out of it, and this is how your contribution helped a man. So that is something I just started because I don't want to leave any man behind, and so that's my way of trying to give back and having others give back.
Well, you definitely left us all full of knowledge and compassion, and just a beacon of hope and light. And thank you so much for Drew for stopping by the MC Holmes Massive Connections podcast to kind of just give a little hope to the men out there, and just want to say thank you. Stop by anytime, and we're definitely going to stay in touch and follow your movement and support you in any way we can.
Thanks so much, Alan. I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you're doing. You're a good man.
On my honor and privilege, sir. Thank you. All right, well, Drew Deraney, make sure that everybody check him out in Prophets of Passion and check him out on LinkedIn and around his YouTube channel. And we're here to support him 100 to 10%. Until the next time, we thank each one of you for living life through purpose and passion with the Drew Deraney's of the world. God bless. We love you. And we thank you. We'll see you next time. We're just probably going to bring up Miss Emily Gomer, and she's out there. She's gonna maybe give some final thoughts on some other places that Drew Deraney's the Mindful Man's Movement may appear. We have various other channels along with Kurt Roscoff. Kurt and Emily, are you out there somewhere in the world of ability, so to speak?
Thank you,
Okay,
Alan. Have a wonderful
thank
one.
you.
Kurt, I thank you, sir. You're the man behind the mission back there, so I thank you. And Emily, you too. Take care, everybody.
Yeah, you're very welcome, Drew.
All right, bye.
Good luck. Good luck with your next meeting. We'll see you
Thanks
again
so much.
soon.
Thank you. You too.
You bet.
All right, all right. Well, I wanted. My goodness, a vessel, a full of a vessel, ladies and gentlemen. The Mindful Man movement. You also will be able to see his information on the Word of Abilities and other channels, and we want to continue to just give a blessing of mastery of connections. Emily or Kurt, what are the resources that we have? Or it's coming up. We know that we are going to definitely place it on the wonderful no car, no kids, no chaos, no politics. There's also, I believe, the World of Abilities with Emily Gomer and Kurt. You have the Disability Channel with your amazing spouse, Miss Sue Roscoff. And did I leave anything out?
Then yeah, then as you said, we're putting it on the Mastery Connections LinkedIn and Facebook groups, and then on other like our other Facebook, LinkedIn, other things as well. Kurt, do you have any other places you're putting it out to?
Well, we have. This is part of our efforts to have a platform. My mission has derived from groups, like saying Drew's group, or even a group like No Card, or a group like Neighborhood Project, the happiest place in the world game, which is about being like Drew is, so forth. And our objective here is to make Wikipedia, which is out there to reach and parents of students. We're getting into school districts, so we're evolving doctorate degree resource type deal. And Optimist Club, friend of youth, bringing out every club is formed to serve the youth, the community, and ourselves. And for my recreation, are part of the Pewaukee Lake Water Ski Club. We're going to have some fun this year. We're celebrating 40 years of the Pewaukee Lake Water Ski Club, and this year Barbie. So that is very interesting. If you have seen the movie, or if you have a movie, we can say that with what Drew came in here with, movie Barbie in a great way. Barbie and all the Kens, and kind of think of what Drew talked to us about today. So here at Mastery, Drew said you can go through the motions, and then you ask yourself, how does it work for you with your soul? how is it placed in your heart? And we look for this guidance, our introspection, our meditations, our prayers, how we do that for ourselves and how it works with our minds. Because in this fast paced world, in this information driven, sensory, hypersensory environment that we create these days, we have to really be grounded, or we'll go off on a ride and we'll be able to reflect back, like Drew was saying, how did I get here? How is this really serving me? So when we're here at Mastery of Connections, Drew's wheelhouse fits into the mastery side of this equation. So we talk about a lot of outlets and so forth. Alan is here doing this with Emily, and I'm here to support it all with what my wife and I are doing with Emily on the World Ability Podcast Network. We have Ability MKE now this evening at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time, 7:30 p.m. Milwaukee time. And we spent 29 minutes there, featuring, the people that are talking, and we try to splice in our advocacy, which is about, what are you doing, or what have you done today? What are you doing today? And what will you be doing today? I now, from the business networking side of it, I say more, how are you looking at it and what you're doing with executives with disabilities, professionals with disabilities, and to really, see if people can open up their activities and their organizations and their companies more and more and more to people with disabilities, because this is what happened in the last 10 years of my life. So when Emily's asking, in networking, in our Mastery of Connections, we have great activities. We just had our friend Alex was doing another session with a good group of people with the Great Discovery. And, that is really what this is about. There are people out there really in a lane, really on a focus. In business, we say find a need and fill it. There are a plethora of these resources and venues and platforms and outlets and social media techniques, like NowSite. We have that in the Happy Store, at the Happy Neighborhood Project, the Happy Co-op. So there is no shortage of ways and techniques, that people can get their message out there. And that's what this show is about. Mastery of Connections is through our connections to come in here and to allow our friends to get some more attention and to dive deeper, as well as we knew Drew. It was interesting for the three of us just in this show to hear Drew articulate again his story and how he goes about it, and how men like Alan and I can benefit of it, and the value it is to women. So someone like Emily can realize what Drew's got going on over there for Alan and me. And then reticular activation, Emily can think of all of the men in her connections and send the men to Andrew, to Drew.
Yeah, it is.
Are you
this? Oh, absolutely. I really believe that this is just for both the families, the men and women, and it goes beyond so many connections. I mean, for example, who knows, in the near future we may have the incredible Donald Brown. He's actually on my no card. He serves information through art. He has an amazing gift to give back to the world, to the children, to the schools, to the men and women who have so much abilities, to play off your words, Kurt, with those with the abilities who are artists. Check out that on our no card. But I agree with you 110%, Kurt. There's so much in what's going on in the world. We want to focus on the positives of the world, and the mastery of connections with. Ever since it's been started somewhere around the 14th of February of this year, because of Emily and Kurt's mindfulness, and it just full circle. So this is what happens on the World of Abilities. See, that's what I'm saying. See, I cross over things. That's later tonight, so make sure you tune in, ladies and gentlemen. The Mastery of Connections. I want to thank you for another edition. Who knows what's going to come up next week? Next Wednesday at 8 a.m. We Pacific, but we cross around it globally to figure out how we can be of his service to you. Until next time, this is your MC Holmes, along with my supporting cast and the ones who make sure that I don't go off into the side. Mr. Well, ladies first, Emily, we love you. Happy belated birthday again. And Kurt Roscoff, the legend, the man, the myth, master of connections, and Drew Deraney. Make sure you check out him because he's got you, man, and families. Thank you. We love you. Until next time.